The Democratic Party kingmakers have seen enough. Clinton world joining forces with Obama world and taking over the reins of the Biden campaign. A hostile takeover. Obama sees the race for what it is, a real nail-biter. But Biden doesn't always listen to Barack's advice. He actually questions his judgment. So Obama's going around Joe and is personally calling Biden's campaign chair and close advisors, asking about strategy and how Biden was taking their advice. He has the Biden campaign wired. Obama's people have ordered the Biden campaign to, quote, make sure Obama is in the loop on campaign updates. Obama's even making staffing decisions at Biden's headquarters in Wilmington. Obama's lieutenants warning they'll be watching Thursday night. No pressure.
Listen, this is the most important 90 minutes in Joe Biden's political career. It's in my viewpoint, one of the most important 90 minutes in recent American political history. Because if Joe Biden doesn't do what he needs to do Thursday, and I very much think he can, he's a solid debater, I'm not even sure Trump will debate on September 10th.
We agree. It's the most important presidential debate since Kennedy-Nixon, only because the whole world's tuning in to see if Biden can hack it. If he can't, they'll swap him out. If he can, the progressive takeover of America is imminent, because a second Biden term would bring this country to its knees. Obama's team not stopping, inundating Biden with last-minute advice.
Tell me, what's the one thing David Axelrod most wants to see Thursday night?
Well, look, I think from Biden, I would like to see him make this a very comparative exercise. Don't get caught up in that presidential trap of touting your own record and defending your own record endlessly.
That should be easy because Biden doesn't have a record. It's all hands on deck for the Democrats, so they're bringing in an expert, the only person who's debated Trump and Biden. She's back. Hillary's nagging Biden with debate tips now. Since Joe won't take her calls, Hillary's giving him advice in the New York Times. Hillary says the key to winning the debate, go hard on abortion, democracy, Jan 6, call him a convicted felon out for revenge, and oh yeah, Joe should mention something about how he's going to lower costs. Hillary's giving Biden the answers, and CNN's probably giving Biden the questions. Remember, it's the same network that leaked her questions the last time. How do you trust the network that's been calling Trump Hitler to play fair? You can't. And if there's any time to play dirty, it's now. Because Biden's losing to Trump in every swing state, every one. And the media, like with all things, can't understand what's happening.
The debate is going to make clear the contrast between our president, the current president, who works on behalf of the American people, fights for the American people, and the former president who pretty much spends full time fighting for himself.
If the contrast is so obvious, what's going on? Why does it poll so closely? Why is the race so close?
These races are always close.
If Biden can't deliver his lines, the Democrats are going to play Ring Around the Rosie with Kamala, Newsom, and Crooked in Chicago. Watch.
If he does flop so hard that it's even the media can't deny it, should they pull him?
I would say yes. The reason I would say yes is because you know the base is gonna show up, and but it's about like those independents and those hypothetical swing voters, those people who maybe undecided. It's about them.
As we speak, it's day 5 of Biden at Camp David with 16 camp counselors cramming binders full of zingers into his brain while he mock debates Trump impersonators in an airplane hangar / movie theater that's been outfitted with lights and production equipment, courtesy of Steven Spielberg. Aides whizzing in and out of the room on golf carts and carb-loading Joe with lasagna while he practices standing for 90 minutes. Only problem is Biden's debate prep is too white.
There is a profile in the New York Times today of the 3 closest advisors, longest-serving advisors, informal and formal advisors to the president, and they're all white men in their 60s or higher. Former Senator Ted Kaufman, 85 years old. So is that too insular?
The media wants to DEI debate prep. Even though Barack's calling the shots, I guess he's not black enough. What do they need to bring Cord Pop to Camp David? Think about it. Joe Biden needs to take a week off of his job to prepare to do his job. This is the first time in presidential history where the president has taken a full week off to prepare for a debate. Maybe he doesn't remember the last 4 years. I'm sure Trump will jog his memory. Biden's incapacitated, so they're making him memorize thousands of sentences for 7 days. But on a debate stage, Biden's his own worst enemy. He torpedoed his own campaign during a debate in '87 when he plagiarized a Brit.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university? Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college? Is it because our fathers and mothers were not bright? Is it because I'm the first Biden in 1,000 generations to get a college and a graduate degree that I was smarter than the rest? Those same people who read poetry and wrote poetry and taught me how to sing verse.
As soon as Biden climbed down from the stage, anxiety filled the faces of his closest aides. And they knew at that moment it was over. On Thursday night, if Biden can't regurgitate all the talking points pumped into his head, he'll revert back to Bidenisms, half of which are plagiarized or completely made up, like cannibals snacking on Uncle Bozy. If Biden steals or forgets his lines, the party elders will send out a bat signal for an understudy at the convention. These 16 camp counselors, many loyal to Obama, are putting Biden through a stress test, like a patient under constant observation, the whole time on the phone with the head physician, Barack Obama, who has power of attorney and is ready to pull the plug. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.